TLS that will bring into either protocol every single 88 days. It's like, my God. It's actually
basically like, I don't know what else is needed, like to keep this thing running for 16 or 20 or 50 years. But if I guess if TitanX still exists in 16 years, then I kind of bought the Bitcoin, and I just don't want to sell it. This is directed to all people who are asking if they should sell after day 89. It's up to everyone. Like if you can buy a pizza for 1 Bitcoin, or you wait 10 years and you buy a house.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, well, that's why education's key on this. You know, it's like there's just so much to it. And I mean, to your thing about, or to your point about making or saying, you know, if TitanX is still around, TitanX will be still around. There's, with the way that Torus is designed, it will lift TitanX eventually to a point that people aren't ready for it. Because mathematically, if Torus is even a moderate game that people want to play in terms of there is some demand, it is going to continue to burn the supply, to burn the supply, to burn the supply. And eventually it's going to get to a point where it's going to start affecting the price of TitanX. And because it's going to affect the price of TitanX, it's going to affect the ROI of Torus, and it will affect the demand for Torus. And so that's on the low scale, moderate side. If Torus is like actually successful and does what I think it can do, even let's say to like 60% of the capacity, then there's going to be so much TitanX pulled in that the TitanX price is going to be pulled up. And potentially if it goes to its max capacity, Torus will begin to erase TitanX supply at such a rate, or require so much TitanX to get into the system, that it's going to push TitanX up to a point where there is going to be another mining wave, and possibly even it will require another mining wave just to bring out more supply to be able to actually lower the price a little bit and get supply into more people's hands. And that's by design.
So people, before selling Torus, think twice.
You really have to think about the long game. You really do. Hey, Super Dad.
Hey, how are you?
Fantastic, my man. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I just like to add on the conversation you are having with the gentleman. Hey, his name is very difficult. This KNPNN what?
From what it's pronounced Kirill.
Oh, Kirill. Okay.
Oh, I will. I'm sorry. I will write my name in your letters. I'm sorry for that.
You're all good, bro.
Okay, I just want to add on the topic you are holding with the gentleman. It's very, very interesting. And then from the fundamental point of view that I see is that I think Torus is going to do well together with Unity, and then they will automatically add value to TitanX and PulseX respectively. What I think is the genius thing that you have done, cryptographics, is that you democratized the McDoon states. You understand? The Torus on McDean, so that the users can be able to see everything, what is happening behind closed doors in terms of when the tokens are going to come out, the staking and all of that, so that at least when you have that kind of data available to everyone, it becomes easy for people to, when they create Torus or even Unity, and when they stake them respectively, they'll be knowing for how long will they do that, and then on that day, how many are going to be coming out and all of that. And then the other thing about Torus is that on the day of maybe the 88 days, every day, when the token are coming out, all those tokens that are coming down respectively. So it gives us the edge to continue to, for instance, let me say today I'm claiming my Torus. 3 things are going to happen with my Torus. Perhaps I'm going to take some, then I'm going to create some with some, and then I'm going to stake. So I think over time, maybe on the second 88 or third 88 or fourth 88, we will be in a position whereby when you look at the stats on the McDean, every day, the payout, the claims, the due date of the claims for each and every participant, because all of us, we are going to claim on different days. But we are going to arrive at a point whereby on the data, when you look at on McDean, Torus or Unity on McDean, we'll be seeing a flat line, like as if like, you know, the staking are ranging and the creation are ranging. So that is what I see over time, because now that's, like I said, the genius thing is that you democratized the McDean stats so that everybody can be able to see, as compared to other protocols whereby the data was available to people who can manage to buy McDean services with $250 and stuff. So with Torus, it's different. So everybody can see, and then they make informed decisions because the data is available for everyone. Like now they see day 89. I think on the first day they saw day 89 is going to be like 4 million. Hey, everybody maybe there was like, hey, what's going to happen here? But on daily basis, the numbers are coming down. So by the time we reach day 89, you'll realize it's only, you know, we are not going to, all of us, some are going to, maybe all of us are going to claim on day 89, but we'll be taking some, creating some, and staking some as well. You understand? So I think the system, both Torus and Unity, is going to be balanced over time. That's why I'm not worried. So thank you.
I appreciate you saying that. I really thought long and hard about, okay, what are the benefits to, you know, having a paywall for getting the data? And I really wanted everyone to be able to make the decisions from day one, have the same advantage. There's no inside rooms. There's no, you know, paywalls, no nothing. I really thought long and hard about that. So I appreciate recognizing that. And that is how I wanted Torus to be, you know, from the get-go, is everyone gets access to the same information, which I think actually adds a ton of value. Like spending the money to get that built pays back in dividends, like exponentially more, in terms of how much more people are willing to look at this thing, spend the time to get to know it, and then wanting to participate in it, which is far outweighs any other possible scenario. And, you know, I think that was the most reasonable thing. And because I had always been saying this to you guys, this is a user-centric protocol, you know, where I want the users to be just as, if not more important to some degree, than just the protocol running and the scarcity and the tokens and all this. So yeah, it was really deeply thought about when we were building this thing and bringing it to life. So yeah, I appreciate you recognizing that.
Yeah, Yeah, if you can look at previous projects, like I'm sorry to mention, like Hydra, Hyper, and perhaps on TitanX. Let's say Hyper and Hydra, because I think those are the ones that were the big people participating. You realize that information on McDean was available to selected few people. Now the rest of the people who were like the rest of us, like who didn't have access to that information. You realize, like, when you enter those mining and stuff, you just wanted to get in, get something, and get out, because you don't know what is happening. Now, if like Torus, if the information is available, everybody will be knowing what they're getting themselves into. They know, okay, I create for X amount of days, I stake for X amount of days. On this day, at least there won't be too many people maybe claiming or anything like that. Then, you know, they claim, they mine, they create, they stake, and all of that, because of that data. That data is very, very important. Now, if it is available to selected few, lot of retail investors, they think that the whales are going to dump on top of them. So no one to be dumped on. So if every information is available to everyone, it becomes easy for everyone to make informed decision, like I said. So I request that you also make McDean stats available for Unity for everyone, just as you have done with Torus. That will be the biggest advantage you will have over any other project that has had some mining and all of that. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And I can guarantee that's going to happen. That's already that's already part of the game plan, is to have Unity have a dashboard day 2 or day 1, as soon as we can effectively get it up. because it's basically just like a clone of the dashboard. And just the last thing I'll say on this too, because there is a lot to this that I didn't realize. And this is, I guess, part of the really cool thing about, jumping into the founder's seat is just how much you learn about all these different smaller social dynamics that you might not think about when, I didn't think about, when I wasn't in this seat or operating from this vantage point here. And that's the social side of it too. Like, people can't make content on Hydra or Hyper, really. They can only talk about it for 2 seconds. Like, oh yeah, the buy and burn's running out, or oh yeah, we're negative ROI, or this is what the price chart's telling me, this is what the ratio is telling me. But there's no data out there. There's nothing to talk about. There's nothing for people to get excited about and look at and talk about daily. Like, I mean, if you look at Superman Crypto, he's literally made Torus content nearly every single day since Torus launched. And he's been able to because, and others have been able to as well, because of that page, really. And so to me, it's really showing itself to be a no-brainer. It's amazing for the users, right? But it's also a conversation piece. People can get to know the protocol. They can be more confident, and they can make content on that stuff as well. So it's like, I think that is some of the best money you can spend. And what I'm feeling as I go on, it's like investing in the infrastructure is way overpowered versus investing in someone to talk about it, because someone talking about it with just an incentive to talk about it because they got paid $500 or $1,000 or whatever, like, you can tell when someone doesn't give a shit. But when someone's actually genuinely excited about something, that's like them. That's like, you could pay someone $10,000. You couldn't pay someone $10,000 possibly. You pay the right person $10,000 to talk about it and be that excited. But yeah, you can see what it's like. It's so much more potent when people are actually genuinely excited and talking about it than just paying someone. So this is kind of the model that I'm utilizing for Torus and Unity. And so far, I really do feel like it's working just by your guys' commentary and watching the posting online and seeing the engagement, how fast it's all ramping up. It's really making me feel like that is the right move. So
good job.
Yeah. Thank you. I do want to get to B Waters' comments here as well. Of course. Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. There's so much that goes into these small decisions that I didn't really see coming. And so, I'm learning in real time, essentially with you guys, and to be able to share and showcase kind of how this all works and talk about this is cool, because I feel like the more you guys are educated, the more, if you decide you ever want to, do your own thing, or you want to support Torus in some way, or you want to talk about stuff, like, can see the impact of how all this works. And yeah, it's just really freaking cool. Whether it's useful to you guys or not, there's something to be learned, I think, that can be carried over into real life as well as just in this space. But I want to get to B Waters' comments here. So he's asking a couple questions, and I love these questions. So the first one is, why did you land on the 5% fee for staking as opposed to other percentages? Just curious from a game theory perspective. Yeah, so that was very intentional. I really did think long and hard about it. And if the 5% fee, remember, there is basically what happens is when you get to 5%, you have this flip over point where when the ratio of TitanX to Torus goes 10% below that ratio, then you get this effect where now the staking ROI is higher, and 5% is not unreasonable though, because if you go 1%, 2%, 10%, all these outside numbers, you effectively either get too low a fee or too high a fee. Because what happens is a 5% fee, right, as everything gets more expensive and the price of Torus goes up, begins to get overpowered, right? And if also the price goes too low, then it can get to a point where you're literally going to be paying more for the staking fee than the Torus itself. And so this was like a perfect balance. Like, I played with 6%, I played with 7%, I played with 4%, 3%. And to balance like some kind of a fee with getting it as close to that crossover point as possible, 5% was the number. And 5% was also the number because over time, 5% is like a happy medium. If you go 6 or 7%, it just it gets too overpowered, too expensive. And you have to also remember too, as a staking mechanism, 5% creates like an arbitrage ceiling, right? Where in the future, let's say if the ROI goes to 5% only, well, people are going to stop staking because the cost is 5% of the creation side. And so really the net ROI is going to be like 0, right? So for even a 1% ROI, well, I guess if it was 0.25%, right? So it's like, let's say the estimated ROI was 5.25%. The estimated ROI for the year would be 1% because you have 0.25% in one set of 88 days, 0.25% in the next, and there's about 4 of those in a single year. So it was kind of the balance point of, if it's too low, it's not effective enough on supply, and then it brings us too close to that creation spot without actually having much impact, and so on. But I did a lot of testing to figure out what was going to be best, and it seemed to me that 5% was the most reasonable at all time, on all fronts, really. Most powerful, most reasonable, made it scale the best. And it also kind of forces people to not utilize the system at a certain point. And there's a couple things where, if only Torus were to ever exist, right, you could potentially run into the issue of it's just overcrowded, right? But as there are more games, like just like liquidity stuff, let's say we get into Ouroboros, let's say there's farms, let's say there's another couple of good use cases that come up for Torus and Unity. Those are all tokens that people are not putting into the system, which every token that doesn't go into the system for 88 days is 7,744 shares that are not in the pool, right? And if you can get 10% of the supply to not be in the pool, or 20% or 30%, if we include the fact that the buy and burn is erasing supply, the buy and build is gathering supply and putting it in the liquidity pool, you could potentially have 30-40% of supply in various places, meaning there's only 50-60% of supply that can actually be staked. And so if we're looking at this ROI over time, it's potentially much more sustainable. And it really depends too, because if the ROIs are quite low, people might just be holding, right? And the people that really want those like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6% ROIs in a year, those are going to be bigger players, right? And institutions, right? And so at that point, maybe there's a lot of people that are literally just holding and just sitting there comfortably, having their nest egg, and they're just chilling. Maybe they got a little bit of stuff in a lending protocol. Maybe they're providing a little bit of liquidity, but they're just happy with their tokens. And so they're literally just sitting on them and enjoying life. And so 5% is kind of this happy medium where it kind of pushes people away to some degree, but it invites people in on that balance point within the system, given that demand resets every 88 days and so on. But yeah, 5% was that perfect point, so to speak, where it didn't drop the price too far and cost too much at that point. It didn't let things go too high and have too little impact. And I really played with this for quite a while. Did a lot of modeling on it, and this seemed to be the best. So 5% it is, and it became. You also had another question here about, or Karel, go ahead if you got something to say.
I just wanted to say 5 is a very nice number.
Mm-hmm. Why do you like 5? Why do you like 5?
Because I can stake hex for 5,555 days.
Aha. Nice. Okay, so there's a 5 yet again here too. I like that. I hadn't thought about that. It's funny though how there is a lot of like homages, so to speak, or like testaments to hex within Torus. I mean, I have to laugh because when I made the colors came up with a color palette, I guess a really good friend of mine sent me an image because we were coming up with like, mascots and all sorts of stuff for what Torus might be. And he sent me this really cool photo of a dragon with an orb. And it was like this purple dragon, this purpley reddish pink dragon with this golden glowing orb. And I was like, oh my God, I love that color palette. And I sent it to my designer. He created the logo that you see now. And I had no idea until the testnet came out. I was like, wait a second. This is literally almost the exact same colors as Hex, which was my first, that's what I started with in crypto. I started with Hex, and now this is the color palette that we have. So it's like, It's just cool. Then get the fives and all that stuff, the share rates and all that stuff. So it's really cool.
Nice coincidences.
It's funny how that works. Hey, just no intention to do that, but it just happened. Let's see here. So can we talk about the daily payout after each 88-day cycle? Already surprised that it's going down close to 98,000 per day. It's getting more scarce faster than what is exactly that 0.08%. It does damage, right? I play with this number as well because if you go like even 0.07%, 0.09%, the difference in the scaling is like insane. It's quite immense what 0.01% difference can do over time. And it either brought things to like well over 200 million. I think almost closer to 300 million. I can't remember. I might be getting this vastly wrong here, but it was significant because essentially if you go up 0.1%, you're going like 12.5% higher daily decrease, or you're going 12.5% lower daily decrease on either side. And 12.5% scaled over time is basically like, that's a significant increase or decrease relative to the supply, right? So it was either too sharp or too high or too overpowered. So 0.08%. Yeah, if we go down to, let's say, after this 88-day cycle, where do we sit here? So at day 88, we go down from 100,000. We're already at 93,274 daily tokens emitted from the Torus pool. If we go down to day 176, we are sitting at around 86,930. If we finish the year, let's go day 365. We're already 25% less. We're 74,727. So we're significantly lower already in just 1 year. And if we look at the total supply numbers, let me just go back up to the top here. So in 88 days, 8.5 million tokens are released. That doesn't mean that in 88 days, 8.5 million tokens are coming out. We know that because we're looking at the cumulative supply. We're looking at the supply coming out that's been lowered on day 89 and so on and so forth. But this is the total amount of tokens that are released that can be earned over the first 88 days. Doesn't mean they're going to come out in the first 88 days. But 88 days is 8.5 million. 365 days is 31.6 million. Over 720 days, there's 54.7 million. 1,000 days, there's 68.8 million. 1,800 days, there's 95 million. And it just keeps going on and on and on. But remember, what's crazy is 95.4 million tokens come out on day by 1,800 days. And by like 50 years, there's only 124.999 million that are finally out in like 20,000 days. So it just gets exponentially more difficult to get this stuff or to get the supply, which again is by design and freaking awesome. Hopefully is that what you were asking there, B-Water? Let me just make sure, because you're saying, can we talk about the daily payout after each 88-day cycle already? Okay, after each cycle. Okay, maybe let me actually, yeah, can you clarify what you mean by that so I can answer a little bit more specifically? I would love to. Okay, that was okay. Yeah. So it gets significantly lower very, very quickly, like 25% after, or I guess what would be 8% after the first 88 days. Yeah, let's see here.
And that 0.08% must be the sweet spot because that's exactly what the Blaze one is as well. We started off
really?
Daily, yeah, exactly that per day. Yeah, 0.08% per day. So we started off with day one, there was 8,888 tokens per day, and 400 days later, it's down to 6,500. So it's over 25% less already in the first year.
Nice. Yeah, we're using the same percentage, and it's funny because I'd read and I knew that Blaze was a slow decline, but I had not actually remembered what that percentage was. So that's hilarious and really cool actually that we picked the same number.
Yeah, that's the thing. People don't, over time, these really, really small numbers really do make a big, massive impact.
Yep. And Blaze is perpetual too, right? Like it just keeps going.
Yeah, it lasts 18 years. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Right. So, I mean, that's cool as well. So Blaze can have a similar effect to Torus in that sense. That's a cool design. I love it. Let's see here. Such great timing in Torus. It's the stickiest protocol for engagement. I didn't really see how sticky it was going to be until now it's out, and now I am blown away by the stickiness of it. Yeah, some things you can design on paper, you don't really realize the power of them. And to answer your last, I guess I'll read what you're saying here. Such great timing in Torus because nothing else is going on in TitanX. This is major ROIs at the ecosystem bottom. Exactly. People are sleeping on TitanX at the moment, but the numbers in Torus have been stellar still. Shows how good it is. Really impressed with how much intention went into this. No stone was left unturned. 5% feels perfect. Yeah, it really, man, the amount of time that went into just literally sitting with like 1% or one singular number, or like the daily creations, or even the ratio with TitanX to Torus. That was all that was really thought about long and hard for like weeks on end, and played with and thought about, and sleepless nights and all that stuff. So how has Torus done compared to expectations so far? What has surprised you? I mean, in terms of my expectations, I am honestly blown away. I did not expect staking to be so in demand out of the gate. I thought the creation ROI would be so tantalizing and so tempting to be like this huge carrot that people couldn't ignore, that people would flood in with creations. And they have been, but I didn't expect the chart to do what it's doing. That's been crazy, which again, that's a proof of concept of how powerful staking may just be in the system. The other elements are really to do with the social side that really have shocked me so far. It's been like you guys have been saying, the stickiness of the pool percentage. I didn't foresee the loss daily with new participation being something that would really make people be like, hey, no, I don't want to lose my percentage, and keep fighting to keep their percentage of the pool. That was definitely something I was not anticipating. In a good, like, obviously, I thought long and hard about the social, or like the psychological aspect of the demand part and how the resetting of the pool would come in and how the supply distribution would work. But yeah, the stickiness of all of that really did blow me away, and really exceeded my expectations, and did actually surprise me quite a lot. What else has really surprised me though? Yeah, I guess the TitanX ratio being as high, the Torus TitanX ratio being as high as it is, really shocked me. Like, I saw us being around like 10 to 20 million, at the high point, and we're at 53. I think we're at another all-time high again today. So that's shocked me. Those are the major things. I mean, then there's the other stuff like seeing influencers and YouTubers talking about Torus has been really cool. Also seeing what one of the things that's really surprised me is seeing people that are over on Pulse Chain come into the room and say, hey, I see this. This is dope. Great work. Really excited for Unity. That was another thing. So it's like, it's making waves into different rooms, and it's just having a higher impact than I expected. You can design things on paper as best as you can, but to see them in reality and then playing out exceeding expectations, that's not what I had on my bingo card. Not at all. So I'm surprised that there's close to 5 trillion going there. I'm surprised there's close to 5 trillion going to the protocol already, when so many people I know have given up on TitanX. That is honestly, I'm very similarly surprised by that as well. It's a good point. Let's actually go look at the stats. I think I have the stats page here open. So we're, of course, number 6. We have 3.2 trillion TitanX that's come into the protocol so far. 2.5 sitting in the protocol. 185 billion have been burned, and 499 billion are in liquidity pool. But we are, yeah, given where we are, it is actually very surprising how much TitanX is coming in, and it just continues to pour in. And that doesn't include the ETH that's in the protocol too, which, I mean, that's also another thing that has kind of surprised me, is I've been watching people come in from exchanges, bring fresh ETH in like $10,000, $12,000 batches, and either buy TitanX or come into the system directly. and we have a total of 53, 66, 67 ETH sitting in the protocol, worth 50, 75, 125, to basically 200 and almost $50,000 in ETH sitting in the protocol, which, I mean, at these prices, that's at least another trillion. So we're basically sitting at like maybe 4.5 trillion roughly, if we were to do the math, something like that, which I didn't see coming. I mean, I hoped obviously for it, but yeah, including ETH, definitely close to 5 trillion. And then the exciting thing is, as people get excited for Unity, I think this is going to change the game, because once people, like when Unity comes out, I do have a feeling that it will get more participation than Torus. And because of that, there's going to be lower ROIs. Let's assume that that's true. That could be completely wrong, but let's assume that that's true. If Unity gets more participation and the ROIs are lower and they love the system and people get addicted to the stickiness of it and keeping or fighting for their pool percentage, and also just be careful with all the comments, because I don't know if Rose is going to step in and stop you for flooding. I have to figure that out actually. So I just want to say, be careful with the commentary. I have to fix that, and I don't want you to get muted or just all your messages deleted. But I think we could see, if people really love Unity, we could see a backflow into Torus because of the stickiness of it, because it's the same system, people love it, and that's really going to crank up the amount of TitanX coming into the system. So yeah, imagine if it launched during the mania in October. Oh man, I think it really it launched really at a perfect time. I have no complaints. I mean, when you launch on the day that ETH literally pumps from, I think it's 2,500 to over 3K, I have nothing else to say on that front. I really don't. Let's see here. What else can I say? I see Super Dad was typing something here, but I don't know if he's gonna hop in. And do you guys have any other questions? Anything else you want to bring up? I know a lot of you are just listening, which is totally cool. But I feel like I've done my morning monologue, so.
Basically, yeah, I had a question about, I guess, the staking of TitanX. I wanted to educate myself, but you wrote you wouldn't recommend like selling Torus for TitanX. I didn't even think about it. But I guess back in the day when TitanX was launched, there was some kind of staking. I wasn't in crypto then, and you say you don't recommend it.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. So the reason for that, obviously, anyone can do whatever they want, but there's real, like, potentially negative effects of going into staking right now, because the TitanX staking is based on, it gets that ETH from mining. There hasn't been mining for a long time. There may not be mining for a long time. So the only real payout that's coming is the day 888 payout, which is sitting at a few $1 million. But the problem is that there are protocols like DragonX that literally own the vast majority of the staking pool, meaning you're basically going to get peanuts. And in order to even compete with them, you have to stake for 10 years for one possible payout. Because I don't know when we're going to see mining again, right? And they own like pretty much all of it at this point. You know, there's a few people left, but essentially you'd be locking up your TitanX for one payout that you even know how much you're going to get. And actually, let's go to Titan. I can tell you how much. Let's go. Let's see here. Let's go to the calculator. Let's say you're going to go to the staking, and let's put in 10 billion, worth $1,800. So you're going to lock up for 10 years, which means you have no access to your $1,800 in tokens. And you're going to get, as of right now, before DragonX activates its 963 ETH, to get more TitanX to put into the staking, you're going to lock up for 10 years for $1,400 worth of ETH. Because there's no other payouts currently happening. Now, that could change if ETH starts rolling in. But to me, it's like, why would you, like, the ROI is so low in the next, like, what day are we at? 600 days. So in the next 244 days, you have a probability to get less than 0.39 ETH. To me, that sounds like not a good, like that's the odds, and it's not, it's not a great strategy in my opinion, especially when you look at the numbers. So now, not saying Torus is like the only way, but there are many other ways in 244 days to make 0.39 ETH. You know, that's only 78% ROI. Torus is obviously going to do probably much bigger numbers, but there's other protocols too that are probably much more lucrative in the TitanX ecosystem beyond that. But is that making sense?
Yeah, maybe I misunderstood something. I thought people want to sell Torus for TitanX and hold TitanX because it grows up more.
I mean, TitanX, to say TitanX will go up more than Torus is I mean, I don't know how to. I just saw Super Dad. Did your message just get deleted? I don't know why, but it looks like I got. You know what, guys? I'm just gonna turn off flooding. Give me 1 second here. I need to turn off the flooding settings for Rose because I don't know what's happening. But I think people's comments are getting deleted here. That really is annoying. Rose bot. Okay, okay, I got it. Okay. Let's do set flood. And let's do 50. Sorry about that, Super Dad. That sucks. So going back to this notion of holding TitanX versus, or going back from Torus to TitanX, that's a very personal thing. And the notion that TitanX will go up more than Torus, that's also kind of a weird thing to say and stick to, because Torus is paired specifically with obviously TitanX, and it has a base ratio where Torus will not really want to go too low beyond a specific ratio with TitanX, meaning it's going to be dragged up wherever TitanX goes. Now, simultaneously, right, if you can have a baseline value that your Torus is worth in TitanX terms, and you can consistently increase that, then there is an argument that Torus is actually a better hold, right? And especially because you can utilize it in the Torus system to continue to get more tokens. And
yeah,
that's super powerful, right? Super
because
powerful.
TitanX you would be just holding, and with Torus you can utilize it and earn more. Basically, it's logical, and thank you. I just wanted to understand what people intend with that.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And maybe, you know, someone who wants to do some trading or wants to do some other plays, you know, they might make it work well. But I think for most people, the easiest games are going to be the ones that are probably going to be best for them specifically, because most people don't come out in front or out on top when doing these shorter games. So, but to each their own, right? Like some people might not even like Torus because it's just like this. They don't want to constantly be going into protocol, waiting and claiming. They just want to buy and hold, which, I mean, there's an argument there for just buying and holding Torus as well. But at that point, I would understand just buying and holding TitanX. Nothing wrong with that either. I feel bad for Super Dad.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, man. It's cool to see Hexagon Hercules in here. I don't know if you are able to come on the mic, but yeah, I would love to hear from you because we've been having a few more pulsicans, hexagons, slowly, making their way in here, which is really cool to see. So would love to hear your thoughts on Torus and Unity, or kind of what you've been seeing and why you found your way into this chat room.
Yeah, welcome, guys.
Dang, right as I call on him. I wonder if he's just listening. I'm going to pause for a moment unless you guys have any questions. I'm going to wait for Super Dad because he was typing out a nice message and unfortunately got deleted. So I'll wait for that and I can chime in. Oh, okay. Okay, no problem. Another time. We do this daily. So tomorrow, though, we won't. Sunday, we will. We will do Sunday, but tomorrow we're doing the community stream. I know he's not listening. Or no, you're in here. Cool. Okay, got a question. Cool. So how do the stakes reset every 88 days? Can you explain that part? Absolutely. So the stakes now, bear with me here because there are a number of moving parts, and these moving parts create different dynamics and create this aspect of like resetting, so to speak, but it's not an actual resetting. It's more like because there are fluid mechanics and participation happening and unlocks happening kind of over time, this will act as like a resetting, but there isn't really actual like reset. Like there's no cycles in the system. It's just like cyclical user behavior creates these resetting kind of moments or periods within the system, so to speak. But yeah, it's not like there's a hard reset point. It's like a natural occurrence more so. So every 88 days is the max length that you can stake for, right? So let's say on day one, let's say the only people, just for simplicity, right? On day one was only when people actually came into the system, right? So people are earning over the first 88 days. What will end up happening is by the time day 89 comes and people can actually claim, if no one else came in the system, all of those tokens that are going to come out on the next 88 days will be up for grabs, and there will be no one in the pool diluting, right? Meaning there's no one else fighting for those tokens. And so effectively, the ROI has reset to the first person that comes in for the next 89 days will effectively, if they're the only person, get all 8.1 million tokens. And so this acts as like a reset. And what you'll see is over the 88 days, like on day one, the first person in the protocol would have seen like 8.5 million% or something crazy like that. It would be just bonkers, right? And as people come in, that ROI lowers and lowers and lowers and lowers and lowers. Let's say it gets down to what we're seeing now, which is 16,000% ROI, right, on day one. Well, every day that happens, the next day, the system is looking into the future, and it's like, okay, day 89, we're expecting all these tokens to come out, and the ROI is based on that. But now when we get to day 90, the system now sees that there's no one in the pool on that day. And so because there's like an average calculated over the next 89 days or 88 days for the system to calculate its ROI, because there's no shares in that day, that's effectively lowering the average and increasing the ROI into the future. And so every day that would go on where there is no one participating in future days, that ROI is going to creep up and up and up and up and up and up and up, all the way to the point where by day 89, if no one else is in the pool going forward, you're going to see like a stupidly high ROI again, pulling people back into the system to go and stake for that ROI. And the moment more people stake again, the estimated ROI is going to lower, right? But that is what acts as like a reset. And every 88 days, or whenever someone is finished, not when they claim, but when they finish and complete their staking period or their creation period, whether it's 88 days or 1 day, their shares are removed from the system, meaning they stop earning. And this is kind of like a reset where now people have to go and they have to actually choose to go back in the system, because now that they're coming out, the system is calculating them as out, and they're effectively giving the ROI to anyone else that wants to come into the pool. Effectively, like you're saying, yeah, resetting the game every 88 days, right? And the unlocked stake tokens on day 89, what choices could a user make in a hypothetical sense? So on day 89, now staking is different than creating. So creating holds you to only be able to claim after you've completed the 88 days, the 44 days, whatever you've selected. But staking has different game theory. So staking, you can actually claim your principal staked tokens back at the 50% completion mark. Now, when you go past 50% completion, you're going to get a little more Torus that you've earned the further you go into the completion zone past 50%. But once you get to the 88-day marker, yeah, your 100% completion zone, then you have a few options, right? One, it depends on what the price is, right? If let's say the price is, because everyone was staking and the buy and burn was doing its thing and people were buying up the price, let's say the price is high enough where creation is a higher ROI. Let's say the staking ROI is like 300%, but the creation ROI is 600%. What you could do is you could sell some, all, a portion, whatever you want of your Torus back into TitanX, and then you could go into creation. Because what that means is effectively, if you are using the creation mechanic when the ROI is higher than staking, you're typically going to get more for a principal amount of Torus that you're creating up front than you previously actually had when you were staking, and then you're going to be earning on top of it. This is typically how that mechanic is going to work. So it's like utilizing this creation mechanic is going to be very powerful when the ROI is higher than staking, but also then you have to sell, right? So that's one decision you can make. The other decision you can make is to split it up in some degree, where you're effectively selling some to compound. Oh my, okay, I don't know, Super Dead, I don't know what's happening with Rose. I don't know why you just got deleted again. I'm so sorry. I saw that. That sucked. That's really annoying. How do I turn?
Rosie doesn't want me to type, but I did save that information this time. Yeah, but
Okay.
in fact, what I was saying was that I think by virtue of that, just democratizing that information. So for the creation and staking of available data. So as in the future, everyone's going to be having their own different 88 days on both Torus and Unity. I see that the prices is likely to going to be staying up there, whereby some new participants, they will wish they can come down so that they can buy at the low, but the system itself will be self-sustainable because of openness in terms of planning by users based on the McDean data availability on daily basis, by the way. So that's how I see the future of that ecosystem, both ecosystems, that is going to be tight, and the price is likely to be staying at that high price. Even those who are planning that after day 89, they're just going to be taking their initial capital plus interest they've got on the system and leave, I can guarantee you it will be like a drug. They will come back the very same second. Okay. No, that's what I wanted to write, but Rosie seems not to be liking me today, but it's okay.
Maybe she needs a coffee or something, but I do agree. And yeah, it's those dashboards can be powerful, very powerful. Man, I wish I could have seen, you could read what you wrote there. I don't know why she's being that way, but let me get back to Hexagon Hercules here, just because I want to make sure that everything that I'm saying is making sense here. So yeah, just this is all that good. But thank you, Super Dad. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
Of course. Yep. No sweat. Glad that's making sense. And yeah, let me see if there's anything else I can add in here. I guess we were talking about you could split strategy, or you could even sell a little bit or bring in a little bit of TitanX, or you could sell a little bit of Torus or bring in a little bit of ETH or TitanX to stake what Torus or with the Torus tokens you have currently, because that's going to be the least amount of sell pressure that you're going to create on the chart. What's the least amount of selling? And by staking, you also get access every single time to that 50% and early end stake mark where you won't lose your principal. And another thing for you who you may not know this, but in the system, there are penalties. If you go past the 14-day grace period, you can lose tokens. And if you early end stake, you can lose tokens. And that's the going past the grace period penalties is for both creating and staking. But the Unity and the Torus system do not penalize your principal, because I did not want people to lose what they put into the system for life happening, for them forgetting, for something going on and they just like can't make it. So you can lose your earned tokens, but you cannot lose your principal ever in the system. Even if you let this thing sit for a year before you claim it, you cannot lose your principal. Could you discuss the encapsulated stakes? What chains do you plan to migrate the Torus over to as Pulse Chain on the roster? Well, Pulse Chain has its own, we'll have Unity, right? Unity is the same system that will be built on PLSX. So there's, unless people really want, like maybe there's a reason at some point. I don't have, I'm focused on some other stuff right now. That's not in the pipeline at the moment. I have a feeling that, you know, there's a lot of people that cross over between TitanX and soon between Torus and Unity and TitanX and Pulse Chain. So I could see that happening. I don't have a plan personally for that at the moment, but in terms of the encapsulated stakes and creations, I mean, that's going to unlock a whole lot, because that's going to be there for Unity as well. So Unity and Torus will both have that feature, and Unity will probably have it very soon out of the gate after it launches. I'd like to have it day one, but that's obviously a huge ask, given how close we are to Unity launching. So any other chains, the problem and the benefit to bringing Torus to other chains is there's a risk reward or cost benefit kind of dynamic going on when you bring Torus or Unity to another chain, because for every Torus or Unity that is not on its native chain, it needs an opportunity that outperforms the native system for people to make that decision worth their while, right? Like if Unity or Torus is giving like hundreds of % every 88 days, like why would anyone ever go ahead and bridge their Torus over for like maybe 10% annual APY from, you know, some other protocol? It makes no sense, right? So there has to be outsized opportunity to really make people want to bridge their tokens to another chain, which there's a few scenarios where that can happen. Like eventually, if the system is seeing a lot of participation and the ROI is coming down significantly, then that's probably a pretty reasonable expectation that people will then start to move to different chains, move to different liquidity opportunities. There might be different builds that are happening and so on and so forth. So that'll help things expand over time and possibly go to different chains. But at least out of the gate, I don't see that being a thing. I think people that try that will learn very quickly that you really can't compete with the system, you know, at least for the first while, because the ROIs are designed to be so high out of the gate. But I don't know how soon that's going to change, but at some point it probably will. I just don't know when. Now, in terms of the encapsulated stakes, there are going to be encapsulated stakes and creations, meaning essentially you guys could list them, or we all could list them on the open marketplace. You could sell them. You know, maybe there is a protocol that allows you to do something with those, creations or stakes, but that's all up for like, you know, potential stuff. Basically, what this will allow you to do is if your wallet's compromised, or if you think your wallet's compromised, or you want to gift your creations or stakes to somebody, you can move these creations or stakes from wallet to wallet. And then it just opens up a world of potential into the future. And like I said publicly, this is the ground floor for something much bigger that I'll release more info on later. That again, you know, like similar to Torus, that's like kind of the first of its kind, you know, built off of everything I've learned, but it's just, again, going to be on another level. It's a pretty big build, pretty ridiculously big, but it'll change everything. Easy migration, still waiting for encapsulated hex. Exactly. Yeah. So this will be great to have out of the gate, where it's like you can just, and all of this too that I'm talking about will be built in to the Unity dApp and the Torus dApp. So it's not like you won't have to go to a different site. It'll be like in the main dApp. It'll be there to just click a button, done. And this is the theme myself and the team were talking about, is like, if we could have as much of the infrastructure that is going to be built at some point, like someone will have the idea, someone will want to build it. If we can take those builds and have them integrated into the Torus and Unity dApp, I mean, that would be best case scenario. So then people don't have to worry about, can I trust this site? Like, should I go here? Like, you know, people being worried about multiple different builds and trusting multiple different builders. You know, it's just all in dApp, and with the same simplicity that Torus and Unity already have, and it's just seamless. Like that's the goal. So I'm not trying to prevent people from building, but I'm also trying to make it so that, you know, if things are going to be built, it's the best user experience possible. And what you're pointing to, Hexagon Hercules, is exactly why I want to do this, because we have an opportunity to learn from everything that was done, HSIs, from Mycosa, from Hedron, from Hex, from everything that's already been built, and then take that and put it into one place that is extremely simple, extremely powerful. It's not built by multiple people. It's done all at once, and it's done right the first time. You know, it's not like there doesn't have to be multiple attempts. The multiple attempts have already happened. And now we can just take that, perfect it, and bring it into one system. So I think this is what's going to give Unity and Torus a huge edge, is that it's going to learn from all these systems that were already built that are phenomenal and are so innovative and that really push the envelope of what's possible. But taking this and putting it into all under one roof in a way that's never been done before, I think that's going to be worth its weight in gold multiple times over. And why I think that, you know, going over to Pulse Chain specifically, and why I'm really glad to see, like, you know, you here with, you know, being a Hexagon, I know that Hexagons will love Unity and they'll love Torus, because it is everything you love about Hex, and in taking it and adding to it and making it different. And it's not trying to replace Hex. It's different than Hex, right? But it's something that takes all those elements that really made Hex sticky and people love it, and, you know, brings it to a different level in terms of game theory and opportunities and all this stuff, right? So I am really excited to start bringing this over to the Pulse Chain community and the Hex community specifically. And if you know anyone that is a streamer, or you are on streams that are in the Pulse Chain community, and you are enjoying learning about Torus and you're excited about Unity for Pulse Chain, it would be awesome, and this is for anyone too, to just, you know, drop a comment in streams for streamers that you happen to watch. Just say, hey, have you checked out Unity? Have you checked out Torus? And just start getting that word out there. I'm not asking you to go out and, you know, DM people, but if you happen to be on stream with someone, just in the chat, and it comes up, that would be amazing. Would really appreciate that, because I am going to start the grand tour, so to speak, very soon for Unity. And I am really excited for people to start learning about this on Pulse Chain. I think it's going to be a massive hit, especially when people realize how much PLSX is about to be burned and what that can do for the entire Pulse Chain ecosystem. Like, it's just going to be bonkers. Like, they just have no idea what's about to hit them. Did your comment just get deleted? I gotta figure out what's happening. Like, Rose is like twitching out this morning. What the hell? Okay, I gotta figure out. Hold on. You know what I'm gonna do? I am going to. Where's Rose? I'm gonna demote her. She can't delete comments anymore. You've abused your power, Rose.
He doesn't like people from Pulse Chain.
I see that. Hey, yeah, Rose. What the hell, man? So many, like, and I know poor B Water too is getting crushed by Rose the other day. Took the time, like Super Dad, and wrote out a huge message, and then Rose just deleted it right away. And oh God, where is Rose? Where are you? How do I demote you? One sec, guys. I really want to figure this out before anyone else gets absolutely brutally crushed by Rose here. This is getting really annoying. Yeah, you can mute people, Rose, but you just can't just keep deleting messages like that. My God. Now I gotta go scroll through all the members in this just to find her. I wonder if I can just how do I, man. Okay, I might have to, let's see. Okay, I might have to figure this out afterwards. I'm not boring you guys to death. Let's see here. Yeah, if you jump in, then I'd love to speak with you again if you're able to hop in the next VC. And actually, speaking of that, I should probably go because I have the Unity VC that is also on as well in 20 minutes. So if any of you guys want to chat more about Unity and the Pulse Chain side a little more specifically, not just Torus, then I'll be doing that, yeah, in 23 minutes over there. So if anyone has any more questions, now is your time. If not, I'll probably wind this down. This has been a fantastic, another fantastic morning VC. So thank you all. Love these conversations. It's really fun to hang with you guys. It really is. I actually really enjoy, waking up and first thing hopping in here. And welcome. I haven't seen Misha before, which is great. See new names coming in and hanging out, and as well as Hexagon Hercules. It's really great to see you guys here. And I'm really excited to get to know you a little more. We'll speak a little more, help you get to know Torus and Unity. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I'll open up the floor for the next minute or two. And if no one hops in, I'm going to shut this down and we'll head over to the Unity chat.